Good morning, Unity community. I am your host, Janet Law, and I welcome you to this gathering here at Unity Center in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. We warmly welcome all people, all faiths, and all lifestyles. Today, we stand upon the unceded ancestral lands of the Musqueam Nation, noble guardians of these lands since time immemorial. It's here that we gather to learn, grow, and celebrate our oneness with Spirit. And if you're joining us via Zoom or YouTube, we welcome you as well. It is also National Indigenous Day, and it takes place today, summer solstice and the longest day of the year. For many generations, many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities have celebrated the culture, language, and traditions at this time of the year and every day of the year. Our mission here at Unity of Vancouver is simple: to build personal and community well-being through universal spiritual teachings and practices. Now, please join me in our opening invocation all together now. There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And now please join me in singing the morning's group song, There Is Only Love, by Michael Gott.
1, 2, 3. Da, da, da. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love and sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind and hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
Thank you so much, Linda and Bill. Thank you. Whew. Today's Unity's daily word is a blessing for fathers. I celebrate fatherhood and bless all fathers today. Today I bless my father and give thanks for the part that he has played in my life. I also bless those who have showed me fatherly love, who taught and guided me, who led by example by demonstrating the divine attributes of strength and wisdom. The love and support that I received from all the father figures of my life helps me to become the person I am today. I am grateful for these special ones who saw my potential and encouraged me to reach high and pursue my dreams. I'm also thankful to them for the encouragement that they provided during times of disappointment and discouragement. I bless the world's fathers, and I pray that they know the support and guidance that they have so lovingly shared with me. And so it is. So we are very, very thrilled to have Randy Purcell here today, speaking again at Unity today. He will be sharing some of the most positives of masculinity on this beautiful Father's Day. So let's warmly open ourselves up to receive what we need most from his message. And with this, we will do 5 powerful affirmations all together now. I am guided by purpose, strengthened by love, and grounded in spirit. Courage guides me forward with confidence and grace. I show up fully for the people and the experiences that matter most. I bring stability, kindness, and courage wherever I go. I embody confidence rooted in truth and authenticity. Thank you. And so it is. And now please rise and join us in singing our new English translation of the Aramaic version of the Lord's Prayer.
Holy Spirit, creator and life of all, you create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Our oneness now prevails. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills our forms. You give us this day a physical and spiritual nourishment. You untangle the never that bind us as we also release others. We don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source. We're born free to act from our highest nature. From your presence comes the glorious harmony of life. Now these words are fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen.
If you'd like a copy of the Aramaic prayer that we just sang, you'll find cards in the seat backs in front of you. So it is my pleasure to welcome and introduce today's speaker, our own Randy Purcell. Randy Purcell is a best-selling author and an award-winning entrepreneur who has been researching metaphysics, quantum physics, and neuroscience for over 40 years. As a founder of Top Producer Systems, Randy grew the Richmond, BC company from 0 to over 400 employees, making it BC's 6th largest software company. In the process, Randy was named to Business in Vancouver's top 40 under 40 list and received the BC Technology Industry Association Award for Excellence in Strategic Marketing. Since the sale of Top Producer to a NASDAQ publicly traded company, Randy has, amongst numerous projects, produced and distributed movies for Sony Entertainment and the Lifetime Network. His book, Metaphysical Millionaires, available in the bookstore, a guide to enlightened manifestation. This distills the metaphysical principles using real-life case studies and prescribes practices that anyone can use to attain great happiness and success. Metaphysical Millionaires currently has a 4.8 out of 5 rating from the 500 Amazon.com verified reviews. And New York's Kirkus Reviews says, this guide often feels like a backstage pass to the routine of great minds where creativity and inspiration abounds. Randy is a friend to all, a lover of life, a curious adventurer, and so we so wonderfully and beautifully welcome him today for our time together.
Thank you so much. We begin today on Father's Day with a brief meditation. And I apologize for the big commercial. I wasn't trying to, I grabbed a bio and sent it on the book. That was longer than I expected. So back to where I was. Meditation. Find yourself a comfortable position in your seat. Not too stiff, not too loose, just right. And take in a deep breath. And let it out a little slower than usual. Take another one, another nice deep breath, filling your belly this time. No one's watching. Your belly doesn't matter. It's there to receive the oxygen of your environment, and letting it out slowly once again. And this time once more, deeply inhaling, and then letting it out very, very slowly. Charles Fillmore was inspired to write these words. I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. In thy divine wisdom, now erase my mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world according to thy perfect law. And as those words reverberate in consciousness, prepare a space in your heart and in your mind. A space in which will enter divine love in all its shapes and forms, including forgiveness, if that's needed. And I think there's only 6 people on the planet that don't have the need for forgiveness out of 8 billion. And in this silence, bring to mind your family. And now expand it to your family tree, going back 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations. And just realize how many people have gone before you in your name. And as you have had your struggles in life, know that every one of them was also involved in this school of evolution of consciousness. They all had their problems. They all had their struggles. And they passed down not only their incongruities and their neuroses, but they also passed down blessings. And sometimes we forget that. We know our predecessors so well because they were our parents that we forget to appreciate the blessings that they conferred upon us. So in this moment, with your heart open wide and aware of all that has gone before you, and you can really go back much further than 10 generations, but just in the mind's eye, we hold those 10 generations, and we know that mistakes were made. And if there is any shred of misgiving in your heart right now about your relationship to your father, rise in consciousness, rooted in your heart center, and know that they were only doing the best that they could, and that beneath it all, they loved you. Your father loved you, your mother loved you. And in this moment, affirm, if not your absolute vibrational congruency, then your intention. I forgive you. I know that you are doing the best you could. And just let that resonate into every cell in your body. The quantum thought structure of unconditional love for your predecessors, particularly on this day, your father. And now, bring to mind one of your happiest moments with your father, where everything was just so right, where you really felt the love. And let that wash into you and through you and ultimately emanate from you. Let the goodness that was in Dad carry on in you. Let the best of Dad live on at even higher and greater strengths as you go forward in your life.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine there's no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I am not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Thank you.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be here with you on this beautiful sunny day. I'm reminded of a story about Gandhi, where a woman came to his ashram with her son and said, "Gandhi, I've traveled some distance, but I need you to talk to my son. He eats too much sugar." And Gandhi thought about it for a minute, and he said, "Okay, go away and come back in 2 weeks." So the woman, not questioning Gandhi, left, and 2 weeks later to the day, she returned to the ashram. And she said, "Gandhi, I'm back." And he knelt down beside the little boy and he said, "Don't eat too much sugar." And then he got up and left. And she said, Gandhi, why did you send me away for 2 weeks? Only to just tell my son not to eat too much sugar. And Gandhi said, "Oh, because last week I was eating too much sugar." And that, I think, is possibly one of the great messages of life. We have to do it ourselves, don't we? We actually have to take the knowledge that we have and the things that we know and the things that we've learned and actually apply them in daily life. And that is the hard part. I'm reminded whenever I do a talk that Ram Dass taught that we're here to create. We're not just here to experience consciousness. We're here to create more higher consciousness. And so it's kind of an interesting sort of maxim whenever you're getting ready to do a talk to say, am I talking about something that I do? Am I talking about something that I really know and that I really believe? Because he said, if we just talk about stuff, about spiritual things, we're just moving it around. We're not creating any more of it. So today, that will be my goal, is to raise our consciousness in whatever small way I possibly can. And I probably want to eliminate and delete, backspace the word I. I am hoping, and it is my prayer, that that Spirit has done its work in helping me to prepare today's talk. So Father's Day today, beginning yesterday and through today, is the first day of summer solstice. It's the longest day of the year. The sun is at its highest, and the sun seems to actually stand still, they say, on this longest day of the year. And it occurs to me that this is perhaps a beautiful metaphor for fatherhood, because a father is a source of light in the life of the family, a source of warmth and stability, a place where the world's chaos stands still. Today we celebrate fathers in the room and online and challenge you, like the sun, to be a constant light in your families. Father's Day is traditionally about appreciating our fathers. But Jerry Seinfeld quips, "You can tell what was the best year of your father's life because they seem to freeze that clothing style and then just ride it out." I remember when one of my sons said, "For $20 I'll be good," to which I cleverly replied, "Listen, when I was your age, I was good for nothing." I showed him, didn't I? And yes, we've arrived at the humor segment of our gathering. So after creating the heaven and earth, as you know, God created Adam and Eve. And he told them, "Don't eat the forbidden fruit." And Adam replied, "We've got forbidden fruit? Hey, Eve, we've got forbidden fruit." "No way," Eve yelled back. "Don't eat that fruit," said God. "Why?" yelled Eve. "Because I am your father, and I said so," said God. A few minutes later, God saw his kids having an apple break. "Didn't I tell you not to eat the fruit?" "Yes," Adam replied. "Then why did you?" "She started it," said Adam. "Did not," screamed Eve. And it was at this point at which God decided Adam and Eve should have children of their own. So let's begin with the question, what is a father? Some say a father is just a giant kid who somehow ended up with keys to the car and a credit card. However, the truth is we hear so much in the news about bad things happening, and you'd have to be kind of thick not to notice it's almost always men doing it, right? Wars, crime, corruption. But we have to have the reality check to remember that the media dominates our focus and brings us only the bad news. It's not like all that men do is bad. Some people get that impression if they're too tightly tethered to their TV. Men, mostly, and I was thinking, most fathers are men, men are actually pretty awesome. They've given us so much when you stop and think about it. Think about the concept of shelter, just the mere concept of shelter. Like we're in a sanctuary right now. Chances are it was 98% built by men. Running water. Sometimes I'm like in awe of this world in which we live in, like spread over this entire planet and all these cities. And some men actually arrived in trucks and dug holes to every house and laid copper piping and connected it to reservoirs so that we could wake up in the morning and just go into the kitchen, turn the tap and get a glass of water. Do we understand the magnitude of how many lives were dedicated to just that one advancement of our civilization? Like literally probably millions of man-years so that you could turn on the tap and have a drink of water. Transportation, planes, trains, and automobiles. And they did so. We stand on the shoulders of giants. They did so and continue to do so at great personal sacrifice. Many guys give up lofty dreams when they become fathers, and when the realities of family life actually kick in, having to, cover the monthly bills. More than one would-be rock star is now Dave in accounting. Men also take most of the most dangerous jobs in mining, forestry, construction, law enforcement, the armed forces, and many more. For example, in Canada, 95% plus of workplace fatalities in Canada are men. And every year there are 900 to 1,000 men who die in Canada on the job. Fortunately for the women, there are less than 50 of workplace fatalities. Now, this is not in any way to deprecate the enormous contribution of women who have done so much and given us so much that there's a full day and more than an hour needed to cover that. But just to acknowledge some of the unique sacrifices that men too make. So here's a quick story about a man that I think honors the masculine spirit and is quite a tribute to a woman. The man's name is Manji. In 1959, Manji's pregnant wife set out across a mountain path to bring him lunch. An act of love so ordinary it shouldn't have been dangerous, but she slipped. And by the time Manji found her and carried her 70 kilometers, 70 kilometers, he carried his wife. She had died. A pregnant woman died bringing her husband food. Let that land. Now, most men would have grieved and moved on, but Manji couldn't shake the feeling that if he had gotten her to the hospital sooner, he could have saved her. So Manji, he picks up a hammer and a chisel, and he goes to that mountain, and he starts carving a road through the mountain that killed her. A big, huge, I think it's like 35 feet high mountain. He goes up with a hammer and a chisel. He is so stricken by grief, and he tells everybody in the village he's going to create a road. His neighbors thought, of course, that losing the wife and child had caused him to go crazy. The local government ignored him. He had no funding, no machinery, no plan beyond the next strike of his hammer. He worked a day labor job to survive. Then each day at dusk, he went to work on the mountain. He had no patron, no sabbatical, no days off. Manji carved for 22 years. 8,030 days. Oh. What he produced was a road 360 feet long, carved 25 feet deep through solid rock and wide enough for vehicles to pass. He started in 1960. You can tell it, I don't know, strikes something in me, just this man's spirit. And he finished in 1982. The distance to medical care dropped from 55 kilometers to just 15. 60, actually, you know, when I said 70 kilometers earlier, that point was disputed. I think it might have been 55. 55 kilometers to 15. As a result of his work, 60 villages gained access to hospitals, schools, and markets, all due to one man. Thousands of children now walk 3 kilometers to school instead of crossing dangerous mountain terrain. Dashrath moved a mountain by himself when nobody believed in him, but he's now a legend known as the Mountain Man in India. That is the power of a father. However, focusing on what makes us different, i.e. male versus female, man versus woman, I think misses a bigger point, which is how each of us show up in the world. It's my belief that as a society, we're far too hung up on labels and playing out our assigned roles. If you think about it, so much of the time is spent role to role. I'm the man, you're the woman. I'm the boss, you're the worker. I'm waiting in line, you're the cashier. When we really should be engaging not role to role, but soul to soul. When it's the evolution and journey of our souls, it's really what the game is all about. And how often do we stop to think that the person that we're talking to is an immortal soul that is inhabiting a body here on earth just like I am, going through this immense adventure, this learning process, this evolution, and just take time to acknowledge that incredible, incredible ancestry, that we are divine. A small boy was at the zoo with his father. They were looking at the tigers, and his father was telling him how ferocious they were. Daddy, he said, if the tigers got out and ate you up? Yes, son, the father asked, ready to console him. The son looked at him and said, which bus would I take to get home? Almost all major religions, from Buddhism to Hinduism to Kabbalah, believe in something called reincarnation. Actually, I left out one. It's from Buddhism to Hinduism to Kabbalah to Christianity, all believe in reincarnation. Now, I'm not saying every Christian sect believes in reincarnation, because they obviously don't. But since the Christian tradition tends to put a lot of emphasis on the Bible, we look no further than the Bible for the evidence. In Matthew 16, Jesus asks one of the disciples, hey, who do the other disciples say that I am? And the disciple answers, well, some think you're Elijah, others Jeremiah, or at least one of the prophets. Nobody blinks. Nobody says, well, that's absurd. How would that work? No, not at all. Jesus doesn't correct them. The premise is treated as completely normal. But there are several other instances. In John 9, the disciples asked Jesus about a man blind from birth. Who sinned, they say, Master? This man or his parents, that he was born blind? And what's interesting here is, if the man's born blind, how could his sinning, if he was not living before this particular incarnation, have caused him to be punished by being born blind? It's interesting that Jesus' response on this was no correction and no revision, but he said this particular man was born blind so everybody could see God heal him. Malachi 4:5, Jesus explicitly says John the Baptist is Elijah who was to come. He doesn't say John is like Elijah. He identifies them as the same soul. In John 8, Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. Basically claiming pre-existence as a matter of personal memory, not theological abstraction. The traditions, all agreeing, suggest at least some probability of the truth. Wouldn't you agree? Our current gender is really secondary to the importance of our souls. If you're a woman, you may have been a father in your last incarnation. And I'm not trying to freak anybody out. If this is brand new thinking to you, I apologize, but I think it's important because I think it's a much more mature and much more functional model for the spiritual path. If you're a woman, you may have been a father in your last incarnation. If you're a man, you will likely be a woman in some future life. Interesting, maybe learning to treat all others as we would like to be treated ourselves, irrespective of our assigned roles, is part of the curriculum of universal love. Learning to be able to express and live a life imbued with universal love. But let's dig a bit deeper into this idea of father and where it points us spiritually. Father has a meaning other than biological in our society, doesn't it? Father has another meaning other than the biological progenitor. In Matthew 6, Jesus taught his disciples to address God as our Father. At the time, under Jewish law, this was an offense of blasphemy, punishable by death. Jesus even went so far as to use the term Abba, which in ancient Aramaic was the equivalent of like baby talk. It's like dada. And he would pray to Abba. In first century Israel, it was unprecedented to address God directly as Father. To do so with the term Abba evokes, though, an intimacy and access to God no one in recorded history had ever employed before Jesus. But wait, there's more. Jesus also said, I and the Father are one. I and the Father are one. He was pointing out that at the foundational level, there is no meaningful separation between the observer and the ground of being from which all observation arises. In other words, he was pointing to the oneness. This is, pretty much standard quantum physics today. The mystics of every tradition have always known this. The Vedantists called it Brahman. The Taoists called it the Tao. The Buddhists called it oneness. The Unity founders called it omnipresence. You are a localized expression of the same consciousness that creates galaxies. And on Father's Day, this fact is especially rich with meaning. I and the Father are one. So are you. The only question is whether you're living from that truth. That's the big question today. You and the Father are one. Do you remember that? Do you know that? Particularly when you're challenged, do you stop and remind yourself, nothing can be greater than that which is within me? It used to be a favorite quote of mine, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. The only question is whether you're living from that truth or from the illusion of separation that has you, and I'm quoting Marianne Williamson here, that has you pursuing a love we have been taught to believe has to be earned when in fact it has never been denied. Human beings have three core needs, and there's many different sort of speculations on what human needs are, but the one I like the most is that we need love, we need growth, and we need love, growth, and what's the third one? Doing. Love, growth. Starts with an F. I'll come back to that at some point. But we have these needs. That's going to drive me nuts. On the illusion of separation that has you pursuing love. Okay, so he says, I and the Father are one. I and the Father are one. And so now what I'd like to do is close the loop on you actually being the Father with an insight from the Gospel of Thomas in what they call saying number 22. And this is interesting because it provides us the instruction for this exploration of soul to soul, not role to role. Jesus says in saying 22 of the Gospel of Thomas, when you make the male and the female into one, then you will enter the kingdom. When you make the male and the female into a single one, then you will enter the kingdom. So we hear about the divine feminine, and we tend to think, oh, well, that's the domain of the ladies in the room. And then, we hear a lot less about the divine masculine. The truth is that we have both divine masculine and both divine feminine in all of us. Each individual has both of them. And I think what Jesus is referring to here is what Fillmore would say is the marriage of the sort of the stereotypical or the archetypal personality qualities of male and female, which could be split very callously into heart and head. The women tend to be more naturally rooted in the heart, and men tend to be more naturally rooted in the head. And Fillmore argued that just simply devoting oneself to love without at the same time developing your wisdom faculties would be a mistake. And Jesus seems to endorse that, saying when you make the male and the female into a single one, then you enter the kingdom. So male subspecies have accomplished much. Urgency and muscle do in fact change the world. Men can do and move mountains. Sometimes it's worth it, but we must always ask, what is the cost? We can move mountains. Fathers, men in the room currently with that role identity. And we can use our physical strength and our physical presence to do so, but at what cost? We must never miss the forest for the trees. Sometimes we can very easily fall into the mistake of just focusing on what is a singular outcome, sometimes even a selfish outcome, but sometimes just we get singularly focused on what it is we want to do, and we forget to measure the terms or the cost in human terms. This can show up in many, many ways. And for whatever reason, I was in meditation told I need to tell this story, so I will. When I was just starting my company, Top Producer, many moons ago, I was very involved in recruiting people to work at the company. And I always remembered a receptionist in a real estate office that I worked, who I'll call Carrie, who was just a delight. She was always in a great mood. She was always up. She was always positive. She was smart, capable. Everybody loved her. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if I could get Carrie to come and work at Top Producer? So I took her out for lunch. I invited her out for lunch, and I told her the vision. And she was listening intently, and I asked her to join the company. And to my delight, she said yes. So Carrie came and was working at Top Producer, and she became an integral part of the family, the small, tight-knit family. Maybe I think maybe at that time might have been like 10, 12 people. And she was amazing. She was just like, whatever needed doing, she would be on it before I knew it, and it was already taken care of. She, in essence, became like a general manager. However, here's the example. So the manager of the telephone technical support comes into my office one day, and maybe now we're at 50, 75 people, and he says, it's got a bit of an issue. He said, like the room where I'm working, we've hired so many more technical support people that it's really noisy in there, and calls get escalated up to me, and it's hard for me to even hear the people talking, and oftentimes they're very frustrated. It's almost unworkable. So I'm like, okay, let me see if I can come up with something. So at a later meeting, I'm sitting with a few other people, and Carrie included, and I say, yeah, we've got this problem with Phil. He can't hear on his calls in the office, and we've really got to find a place for him. Carrie puts her hand up. She goes, well, you know what? He can have my office. I said, really? I said, don't you need it? She goes, no, you know what? There's room in the customer service department. There's a spot right by the window that I can take. I'll move my desk over there. I'm like, awesome. Manifestation, baby. Problem taken care of. So Carrie moves and is sitting, looking out this window into this green atrium in the center of the office building. And 1 week later, Carrie walks in my office. She says, you know what? I'm going to leave. I said, what? She said, yeah, I have to quit. I think I need to go on and do other things. I said, what? I said, is this because of the office? That was your idea. That was your idea. And she goes, no, it's not because of the office. It's not because of the office. Yeah, some people did ask me, what I did wrong to get demoted, but, that's not it. They were just joking or whatever. And I said, you know what? Let's move. Phil can move back. She's like, no, there's no way. I'm not going to have Phil have to move out of the office. It's just a decision I've made. I've talked about it with my husband. I'm sorry. And she left. And I can never get it reconciled in my mind that if I had taken a few moments to just understand what was happening. We were very focused, always trying to get stuff done, move, right? And I didn't weigh the human cost. I didn't stop to think, how will this affect everybody that's involved? You have to do that, fathers and mothers. We all have to do it more. We have to think about how our actions, how our words affect other people. And I you can tell I get even a little emotional now. It's almost like I don't lose any sleep over it today. But when I go back and I think about it, I think, wow, such a wonderful person. And she obviously had a very unpleasant experience, and something that I feel that if I was present today, that I would have really explored deeper. I'm not sure I would have allowed that to happen. So, failure to think through the human cost before making decisions and statements. This is why politicians, for example, need to think through what they say. Their statements affect a lot of people. This is how wars start. Masculine egos that want things and have zero consideration of other people. And as we get older, we must become more and more aware of how we communicate. For example, I have to watch out for what I used to be told was an asset, one of my great qualities, my passion. Now that I have a few gray hairs, he said as an understatement, I am learning what used to be seen as youthful passion can now be mistaken for a grumpy older guy. It's true. It's true. Though we're not really aware of it, and sometimes we complain about the opposite, age still confirms a primal respect, and too much passion is easily misconstrued. It's almost like we have too much power at that point. We're older, so we're due to be considered. We start hammering with passion. It's not a great look. That, maybe up here you can get away with it, but in personal life, one-on-one with your children, that's why it's important to smile as much as you can, to let your light shine, so people know you are happy to be with them. Think about it. And not only that, it makes you feel better, especially with our kids. None of us gets a manual. No dad ever got a manual. Same with the mothers. So this father was dropping his kid off at this first day at school, but the kid looks worried, and his dad asks him, "What's wrong?" Nervous, the kid asks, "How long do I have to go to school for?" "Until you're 18, says the father. The kid nods and thinks about it quietly, and when they get to the front gates of the school, the kid says, "Dad, will you remember to come and get me when I'm 18? So many mistakes we make completely unconsciously, obviously. A long time ago, my mother was very big on a parenting book by a guy named Dr. Spock, not the one from Star Trek, best-selling parenting author, and he said his conclusion was, after spending his life studying parenting, was that what the parents do naturally is actually the best. I'm not so sure if that's 100% true, but we can't turn back the clock, can we? Whether you're thinking this from the perspective of being a child or whether you're thinking from the perspective of being a parent, we can't turn back the clock. There's nothing we can do. But it's never too late for us to get better. As fathers, I think our job is to, one, teach our kids what we can while they're young. Number two, maybe the most important, be a good example and exemplify spiritual principles in the way we live our life. Three, believe in them when they're old enough to think for themselves. This is a big one. When you give unsolicited advice, you think you're helping. But what they hear is, "I think you aren't enough." A parent sending a message to a fledgling child, now an adult, maybe just left the house or getting ready, and the message from the father is, I think you're not enough. You need my advice on every little thing. So keep that in mind. Just be with them soul to soul. And if you must, use questions. Above all, let your children know you love them. Apologize for your mistakes and tell them that you want to have a relationship imbued with unconditional, universal love, and always that you will be there for them. Like I said, dads didn't get a manual. I don't know a single dad that did every single thing right, that never made a mistake, or one that has no regrets. But I do know all dads have done the best that they can, given what they learned at the school of life up until that point. This is a basic premise of the spiritual path, people. Everyone is always doing their best. Everyone is always doing their best. And for this reason, holding a grudge or being angry, for the rest of your life at a parent is just silliness. I hope you're able to love your fathers without reservation, and I hope you have forgiven him for whatever mistakes he may have made. And I know dads can be a handful. Charles Fillmore believed we hand our creative authority over to fear, to scarcity, to the relentless noise of the world, and we forget that we are children of God. Fatherhood, at its highest expression, is the practice of remembering and then transmitting that remembrance to the next generation, that we are divine in nature, that we are children of God. Many believe Khalil Gibran said it best in his poem on children. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And the prophet said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you, for life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends with you his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, he also loves the bow that is stable. It's beautiful, right? And my heart tells me it's true. A lot of Bible today. I'm bringing all kinds of Bible, which is so not me, but guidance is what guidance is. In Psalm 82, Asaph says, "You are God's. You are all sons and daughters of the Most High." You are God's sons and daughters of the Most High. You are in the Father, and the Father is in you. The greatest inheritance a father can leave isn't financial, it's vibrational. It's the frequency of unconditional love. It's raising children who know in their bones that they are not victims of a random universe, but co-creative expressions of an intelligence that has never been separate. You are God's. Live accordingly and teach your children to do the same. Namaste.
on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If you told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And you of tender years, you can't know the fears that your elders grew by. So please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, your children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, 'cause if they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for the talented Linda Kidder and Bill Costin.
Oh, thank you very much.
And thank you, Randy, for that uplifting talk. Very humor infused. And I loved what Randy said about, talking to your kids soul to soul, but even more importantly, talking to each other soul to soul, whoever it is. And Manjeet, I will go home today and remember that story for the rest of my life. Because guess what? He moved a mountain, and each and every one of us can move a mountain too. Fathers are the great teachers, and each and every one of you is also a great teacher. So thank you for being here today. We now come to the time in our service where we bless our love offerings. So now let's together say our offering statement. All together now. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. If you are here in person, please drop off your donations as you enter or as you exit. You can also give as you enter as well, but as you exit, we do have our ushers there to receive your blessing and your tithe and your offering. And to donate online, simply click on the donate link in your chat window and you can give via all major credit cards. We've got a few things coming up here at Unity. So first is you can join us tomorrow night, Monday, June the 22nd, from 7 till 8:30 for our summer solstice ceremony circle. This will be on the lower level, and as Randy mentioned earlier, summer solstice marks the longest day of the year, so a moment when the light reaches its full expression before beginning its gradual return. It's a time to pause, to acknowledge what has grown and reflect on what is thriving in our lives. Together we can gather in community, and we join together tomorrow night, so please join us. It is offered by a donation basis. We also invite you to note that Thomas DeShooter will be here to do a talk next week, but we invite you to stay for a special workshop with Thomas during and after our service next week. He'll be leading an exploration of Unity's 5 principles, the foundational teachings that guide our spiritual practice and help bring ideas into everyday life. Whether you're new to Unity or have been part of this community for years, we want to welcome you and offer you this wonderful opportunity to deepen your understanding, to ask questions, and to connect more fully. This will also be on a donation basis, and we'll start here in the sanctuary auditorium at 1:15, and it will be an enriching afternoon. Sunday, July the 5th, we have Reverend Hannelore here, and she will be having a fun afternoon workshop on awakening your intuition. We will explore creative ways to strengthen our intuition and deepen trust in our inner knowing. This workshop, again, is by donation, and no experience is necessary because you all have intuition. Only curiosity, openness, and a willingness to explore. Please bring a pen, paper, and lunch as it is following the Sunday service. Thursday, July 9th, we invite you to attend an inspiring seminar about vibrant living. Dr. Tanya G. joins us to explain simple ways to improve your energy, sleep, emotional well-being, relationships, and overall health in the world filled with sometimes a lot of overwhelm and stress. It is open to all and is by donation. Join us for our Course in Miracles group every Tuesday from 12:30 to 2:30 at the lower level, alongside like-minded individuals as you expand your own awareness. All are welcome. Your presence enriches the truth of the circle. Reflective Roundtable is today, happening right after the service. Join us for a thoughtful, small group conversation exploring the day's message through shared insights, deep listening, and meaningful connection in a welcoming, structured space. You're all welcome every Sunday at 10 o'clock for Mastermind. We have our Mastermind group here meeting on Sunday mornings right before the service, 10 o'clock downstairs in the meditation room, and it offers a powerful way to align your manifestation goals through the practice of Unity Mastermind prayer. And today's prayer chaplains, our affirmative prayer chaplains are Melba Burns, Barb Richards, Mike Richards, and on Zoom, Marilyn Norrie. Can I just have you stand? They're here in the front row. If you would like to receive a confidential prayer, our chaplains will be waiting for you in the front row after the music. Join us downstairs for coffee, cookies, conversation, and of course, round table if you would like to join that as well. And again, next Sunday, we have Reverend Thomas DeShooter coming back to Unity to share ideas about how goodness isn't something we earn, it's something we are. Watch our website because we have a lot more details coming up on other activities that will be happening here, and to tune in to online if you can't make it in person next week. Let's bring our gathering to a close now. Please stand and let us all together say the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Please remain standing for the singing of our peace song.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the that was meant to be with God as creator. Family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And to our online participants, if you are on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. We send you our love and look forward to seeing you next week. If you're on Zoom and would like to pray confidentially with a chaplain in a prayer room, private room, please accept your breakout invitation, which will pop up on your screen shortly. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you all next week, and God bless.